He only wanted to finish his shift, mop the last hallway, and head home. But in a place where uniforms carried power, his skin carried judgment. That night, one challenge, masked as just for fun, was never about fun at all. It was about pride, prejudice, and the weight of history pressing down on one man. What unfolded in that gym would silence laughter, shatter assumptions, and leave an entire crowd questioning what they had just witnessed. The question is, will you? Marcus was the kind of man most people never noticed, yet everyone depended on. By day, he cleaned the halls of a busy community center, making sure the floors gleamed before athletes and visitors stepped inside. He was quiet, steady, and proud of his work, even if the world rarely gave men like him the respect they deserved. Every evening he followed the same routine, mop in hand, bucket rolling behind him, headphones tucked in his pocket, saving his favorite songs for the long bus ride home. To Marcus, it was just another shift, another paycheck, another chance to keep life moving forward for his family. But on this particular night, something felt different. The air inside the gym wasn't filled with the usual friendly chatter. Instead, it buzzed with energy, restless, sharp, almost mocking. A group lingered near the mats, their eyes fixed on him with an interest he couldn't quite read. Among them stood a man everyone seemed to admire, a young martial artist known for his skill, his swagger, and his belt tied proudly around his waist. Marcus didn't know it yet, but he was about to be pulled into a moment that would test far more than strength. It would test dignity itself. The janitor's bucket clattered softly as Marcus pushed it aside, ready to clock out. But before he could leave, the martial artist's voice cut through the air. "Hey, why don't you spar with me? Just for fun." At first, Marcus laughed it off. He wasn't a fighter, he was a worker, a father, a man just trying to get home. But the laughter around the gym wasn't kind, it was sharp, edged with mockery. He saw the smirks, heard the whispers. The challenge wasn't about sparring, it was about putting him on display. Marcus hesitated, eyes dropping to the floor, hoping silence would end it. But silence only fed their appetite. The martial artist stepped closer, his belt tight, his smile wide. "What's the matter? Afraid?" The words stung. Not because Marcus was afraid of losing, but because he knew what was really being said. To them, he wasn't Marcus. He wasn't the man who kept this place clean, who made their space shine, who had value beyond what they chose to see. To them, he was only a black janitor, someone to laugh at, someone to belittle. The crowd around the mat grew louder, urging him forward. Each word felt like a shove. Marcus could feel heat rising in his chest, not just from humiliation, but from the weight of every moment like this, every time he had been overlooked, underestimated, or reduced to less than he was. He wanted to walk away. He wanted to keep his dignity intact. But then he saw a boy standing off to the side, no older than 12, watching it unfold with wide eyes. Marcus recognized him, one of the kids who played ball in the gym after school. What lesson would that boy take home tonight? That it's okay to laugh at someone because of their skin? That dignity can be stripped away with enough pressure? Marcus inhaled deeply. Slowly, he stepped forward onto the mat. The room erupted with cheers and jeers. For the first time, he raised his eyes and looked straight at the martial artist. No words, just a quiet resolve burning beneath the surface. The martial artist smirked and bowed dramatically, as if the outcome was already decided. Marcus simply stood tall, his hands loose at his sides, his heart pounding with a rhythm he hadn't felt in years. The crowd leaned in, ready to see a spectacle. What they didn't know, what even Marcus didn't fully realize, was that this moment would not go the way they expected. The room fell silent as the match began. The martial artist lunged forward, confident, playful even, throwing jabs meant to humiliate more than hurt. The crowd laughed with each swing that Marcus dodged, their amusement feeding the challenger's ego. But Marcus wasn't moving like a man who was afraid. He was moving like a man carrying decades of weight.
Every insult, every dismissal, every time he had been told he was less. His body wasn't trained, but his spirit was sharpened by survival. The martial artist's smile faltered when his punches failed to land. The laughter quieted. Something in Marcus's calm unnerved them. With frustration boiling, the fighter swung harder, reckless now, determined to make him stumble. That's when it happened. Marcus, with nothing but instinct, sidestepped and placed his hand firmly on the fighter's chest. It wasn't violent, it was steady, unshakable. The martial artist lost balance and crashed to the mat. The gym froze. The champion lay stunned, not because of the fall itself, but because of who had caused it. A janitor, a black man. The room that once mocked Marcus now stared in silence, their assumptions shattered in a single heartbeat. For Marcus, the victory wasn't about skill or strength. It was about dignity, about proving, without a single word, that worth isn't decided by belts, titles, or skin. But even in that silence, he knew this wasn't the end. The stares he felt weren't just shock. Some burned with something darker, an anger that said, "How dare you?" And in that instant, Marcus realized, standing tall comes with a cost. The real question was, would Bay let him walk away with it? Marcus didn't raise his hands in victory. He didn't smile or celebrate. He simply stepped back, breathing heavy, and let the silence linger. For a brief moment, the room that had mocked him was forced to confront what it had just witnessed. Dignity refusing to be crushed, respect demanded without a single word spoken. The martial artist rose slowly, pride bruised more than his body. But the real wound wasn't his. It belonged to everyone in that gym who had laughed, who had believed they already knew Marcus's place in the world. In one motion, Marcus had rewritten the script they tried to trap him in. Later, he walked out of the building the same way he had entered, quiet, steady, carrying his bag. But something had shifted. Not in him. He had always known his worth, but in the eyes of those who watched. Some carried shame, others carried resentment, and one boy, still standing in the corner, carried a lesson he would never forget. Strength isn't about belts or titles, it's about refusing to bow to injustice. Yet Marcus also knew the truth. A single moment doesn't erase centuries of prejudice. Tomorrow, he would still face the same looks, the same assumptions, the same silent barriers. But tonight, he had taken back something they couldn't steal: his dignity. And maybe, just maybe, someone watching would carry that memory forward, using it as proof that racism thrives not because of power, but because too many stay silent. So, the question remains, when you see injustice, will you laugh with the crowd or stand with the one who refuses to bow?